But this whole issue of personal liberty, we can really truly understand that and get the majority of the people to get behind this, it would solve so many problems. It would solve our economic problems, but it would also bring people together. We generally are pretty good at accepting the notion that we have freedom of religion. We don't go around saying that you have to do this, you have to do this, and you have to belong to this church. We usually accept that. But we don't do that when it comes to personal habits. We're always wanting to tell people what they have to do and what they should take into their bodies. You know, if your spiritual life is something very important to most of us, if you get to make your decisions about your spiritual hereafter, and obviously you have your right to read what literature you want, even dangerous literature. We're still allowed to read radical socialism and all these things, and we don't try to suppress ideas. Well, why is it that we have so many rules and regulations of what we put into our bodies? I still am befuddled by the fact that we are allowing the federal government to decide the rules on whether or not you can drink raw milk in this country. Indirect, silly consequences of the war on drugs has been this idea that no American can grow hemp. Hemp is so dangerous that if you grow hemp, we're going to put you in jail. Now, hemp happens to be a rather benign product in the sense of being a drug, but it's a great product for commercial reasons, and we're not allowed to use it. It was an item that we used, to a great deal in our early history, even up and through World War II. People were encouraged to grow hemp because of its industrial use. Today, you grow hemp up in Canada. They have a lot of industrial products, and then we buy the products from Canada. So it makes no sense. But the theory of it is hemp looks a little bit like marijuana, but I've been told, and I imagine this is probably a pretty true statement, if you wanted to get high on hemp, you had to smoke a cigar as big as a phone pole. But it's this overreaction. Once the government gets involved, it's a basic principle of should the government protect you from yourself. If the government's role is to protect you from yourself, believe me, there's not much liberty left because that is open and endless. But for me, a free society offers us tremendous opportunities.
You probably can't read it, but it says
I
Ron
think
Paul.
we have failed as good conservatives and constitutionalists in promoting the cause of liberty. Because if you understand it, it is so miraculous. Because history is so concrete in its in the evidence to show that a free society is the most prosperous society. Now, it's not perfect. There's going to be a few people who have problems. But if you accept the idea that the government has to take care of it, yes, they do it on the notion that we have to have equality. Yes, we do get equality and poverty, and then the privileged class ripping us off. That's usually what happens. There's always a privileged class. Even in the communist system, there was always a privileged class. And that is what we're getting right now. We're seeing the shrinking of the middle class, the consequences falling on the middle class. The middle class got stuck with all the bad debt. And guess what? The people who had made all the money during the bubble formation, they got the bailouts. So it's a system that is not designed to protect individual liberty and the middle class and prosperity. It is designed to help a special interest. Because if you just take the issue of money, if you take a currency and destroy the value of money systematically, like we've been doing, from 1913 to now, we've lost 98% of our dollars. And the money and the wealth seems to gravitate to a smaller class. And this is what's happening. Not only do they make them, they benefit during the bubble formation, then they get the bailouts, and we get the debt. So this is something that has to be sorted out. But you can't just say that, oh, anybody who has money deserves to be taxed, and we have to punish people who have money. That won't work, because some people make money honestly. And I think if you make money honestly by working hard, earning your way, providing a product, and the people vote that product by buying it because the price is right and the quality is good, that person deserves to be rewarded. You want them to make money because then they will keep providing a good product. But what about the people right now? I don't know what percentage, but I'll bet you half or more of the people who are very wealthy are living off the other half, the other 99, because they're getting the benefits, they're getting the contracts, they're in the military-industrial complex. They're the ones who benefit from the money being inflated and they get to use it first, and they're the ones who are getting the bailouts. So there's a big difference. We need to sort that out, and we can do that simply by looking at our traditions, understanding how the market works, understanding the importance of property rights, understanding how important it is to have voluntary exchanges. Whether it's personal, we have to have voluntary exchanges and voluntary association, economically, and also internationally. People claim that we should be overseas, and we've been in some ways doing this since Woodrow Wilson, that we have this obligation to make the world safe for democracy. But whoever heard that it was a good way of doing that, if we have exceptional values, whoever heard it was a good idea to take our exceptional values and jam them down somebody's throat. They're no longer exceptional when you do that, and that's why it has to be done in a different way. We can spread our exceptional values because we do have them. We do it by setting good standards, setting an example, have a free and prosperous society, protecting civil liberties here where others would want to emulate us. That is the way we ought to have spread American success. Is the road to prosperity, it's the road to peace. It's also a road to more tranquility with people, because it brings people together for different reasons, whether it's different religion or different personal habits, that everybody should be in this together no matter what our personal beliefs are. We should be together because freedom serves everybody's interest. The only problem with that is that some people, might make mistakes. And that would have to be worked out. They would have to work it out themselves with their friends or their neighbors or their churches, but they can't come because they've had their freedom and they don't assume their responsibility and they mess up. Now, if you turn those decision-making over to the government and the bureaucrats, guess what? When they make the mistakes, it involves all of us. So that is why it's so devastating. This is why freedom works so well in this country. This is why we're in a real race to try to conserve what we have and try to preserve these traditions, because we still do live in a good society, but it's slowly deteriorating. Yeah, I just saw a statistic today that was rather frightening, and I thought, well, this can't be true. And they say we are 47th in the world now in protecting civil liberties in our country and protecting privacy. That's not the kind of America I want to live in. That is why we have to be very precise. And if I thought we had to live with less prosperity in a free society, I would still want to live in a free society. We don't even have to make that decision. The best part about it, the freer we are, the wealthier we're going to be, and the better it's going to be distributed. The larger the middle class will be, the more jobs there will be. And if we all have humanitarian instincts, and even those who would disagree with just about everything I said, it isn't so much that they don't have good instincts, it's just that they believe that people won't take care of themselves and they need somebody to care for them, and they make this assumption. But right now, the evidence is clear, the system is failing. The Soviet system, it was predicted early on by the free market economists that socialism always fails because there's no pricing structure. But our system, which is called interventionism and planned economy and fiat money and manipulated interest rates, it always fails too. And that's what we're in the process of doing. That's what happened in 07 and 08. The announcement was that it's not a mild recession. The announcement was we're broke. And therefore, that's why we have to cut the spending. We have to change our ways. We don't have to invent anything. We have our traditions. We can look to our Constitution. We need faith and confidence in the free market. And if our goal is to improve ourselves and work for excellence and virtue, governments can't do that. If you're going to put government in charge of promoting excellence and virtue in each and every one of us, believe me, they will not achieve the job, and they will undermine, and they only can do that by undermining liberty. So government is to be strictly limited. That is what the whole Constitution is written about, especially restraints on the federal government. Restraints on the federal government. You can only do A, B, C, D. Matter of fact, there's about 20 things in Article 1, Section 8 that says the government's allowed to do. Believe me, I have the confidence, And there's a growing confidence in this country that that is what we need. I am energized by the many, many thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of young people especially, who realize what they're inheriting and coming into, and they're very open to the freedom message. But there's also many others who have been around waiting a long time for us to get energized and have a movement going that would bring this remnant back that knew and understood, that had felt disenfranchised, that had not been voting, and now come and saying, look, it's something worth voting for and it's very necessary. The message is loud and clear, we need it, and I believe that we do have the answers. If you're so inclined, I would love to have your support, and we can send a loud and clear message. We can carry this state in the caucuses, and I hope you will join me. I thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate all your support.
This is very important, all right, because of the number of people that showed up for this event and the number of people that showed up for the other 5 events that the Congressman has done. We have an overflow. Now, we probably have the biggest overflow that we've had right here, relatively speaking. We have about 100, 150 people outdoors. Cooperation. What we're going to do is the Congressman is going to go downstairs at the bottom of the stairs. You folks are going to sit tight for just that long time, just that time to get them down there. On your way out, he would love to greet you and thank you for coming. We're not going to be able to do pictures, autographs, any of that. And the reason is this. On his way out, we're going to ask him to spend 5 minutes on that porch out front and thank those 100, 150 folks for having
Can't do pictures. It'll have to do. Well, that kind of stinks, but I understand.
My name is Ron the Chairman of the York County Republican Committee. I'm here on behalf of the York County Republican Committee. I'd like to thank Dr. Paul for coming. I presented with this t-shirt. Their logo, let's attack. Wear a t-shirt, but maybe if you ever do that bike race in Texas, Another thing I'd like to announce is that the first caucus, the first town caucus, had to take the name, has to be made in Lincoln, and the mayor was right behind me.
The state convention. Will you do it? I want to take your attention and introduce someone here that has been in the background for quite some time. Ryan, will you raise your hand? Ryan Flowers, State Director.
You gonna write right now? These are all the people outside. I don't know how good this is gonna be. I don't know how good it'll do outside. There's a lot of people here. And Carol Paul asked me to tag her and all of my stuff on.
And the Fed! And the Fed! And the Fed! And the Fed!
And the Fed!
That's my favorite also. And the Fed! And the Fed!
Hey folks, now listen up, please. See how quiet we can be for just 2 minutes because I got a big mouth. The congressman is a little more humble than I am, okay? So I want you to be as quiet as you possibly can so he can get a few words out to you. We just thank you so much for your patience, hanging around. What more can we ask?
Thank you!
All right, so just want to come out and speak to you. When you start speaking, please be a little quiet. 6 events, a lot of speaking, the voice is going. Okay? Let's just,
people stood outside waiting while I was sitting inside nice and warm. I feel bad for them. But at least they get to see him.
And I love it. We can do together is send the country a message so we can do well in the caucus. It will not go unnoticed. I hope you'll be there. Have the enthusiasm now. The people are waking up and you know where their answers are.
Okay, I'm going to shut this off. I'm cold.